player. We are controlling the transmission. We are here to be your guide, helping you to explore local events, the art scene, music, theater, and possibly a conspiracy or two. All here on GCRX Radio and Podcast Network.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to In the Metro. We are back from Memorial Day break, and we're joining us live tonight from Studio B here in downtown Granite City. With us this evening is GCS Credit Union CEO Keith Burton and the ever-present and beautiful Miss Kim Pearson.
Aww.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the show. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. How was your weekend, Chuck?
It was pretty good. The weekend, I'm going to take these off because they keep glaring. I've really got to find a pair of glasses that don't glare in the lights, you know. No, the weekend was actually pretty good. Memorial Day weekend, had a blast. Rebecca and I went down to some property she owns down at Lake Perry. Had a great time. You know, got to see my mom and, you know, took her out to dinner. And so it was a really good time. How about you guys?
Well, it was the melting pot. The second one of the season. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
A few graduation parties.
That time of year?
Yeah, there was a lot going on in Granite. There was several vendor fairs. Saturday afternoon, there was also a business booster. I'm probably not saying that exactly correct. It's a new Facebook page by Alderman Randy Lee Master. He has started where he picks a small local business. And we all meet at a certain time and kind of give them a love rush sort of thing.
Nice.
We did that for Sunshine Unlimited on Johnson Road.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool.
It was very cool. He was hoping for 15. There were 16 of us that showed up. I kind of sat around a little bit and watched the purchases. I myself spent a little over $40. That seemed to be about the range, 20 to 50.
Yeah.
But that's great when you've got 16 people doing that.
Yeah.
We definitely made her day.
They've been around for a while, actually.
They
were in Pontoon Beach. Yep. Now they're in Granite, which is awesome.
Yes. And I hate to say this, but I had never been in there before.
Yeah.
I'd seen it out in Pontoon. I wasn't even sure that really what it was until it moved into Granite City. And I was curious and then got the opportunity to do this. And it was a lot of fun. So follow that page. It's the Granite City Business Boosters. And he'll be putting out the next stop. I don't know how often we're going to do it, but we're going to do it as often as we can and just kind of give the economy a little punch.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You know, speaking of this weekend, also a great opportunity to grill some steaks. You know, we're in that grilling season now, so which kind of actually brings us to the show sponsor for this week. You know, I do definitely say thank you to Nate out there over at Chonko's Meat Market, you know, for sponsoring In the Metro this week. I have to tell you, I've been, going there since I was a little kid and everything, but, they've been around, Kim, I think you just said since 1929. Yeah. I mean, they've actually been a staple and a pillar here in the community. And I just want to say thank you to them for sponsoring the show this evening. And if you go in there, there's so much more, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, but there's so much more than, just a meat products. I mean, their quality is first in quality meats. And I have to say that's 100% true because the steaks that we had, it was actually sirloin, which is on sale. Oh my gosh. It was so good. Delicious doesn't even begin to cut it. You season them, you throw them on the grill and let them cook, low heat, a little bit longer. Oh my gosh.
I did not see your plate posted. Did you not take a picture?
Oh, we did.
I did not see that.
Yeah, I totally did. Are you kidding me?
All right. What was on that plate besides the wonderful steaks from Chonko's?
Okay. So besides those sirloins, so what we did was we actually took potatoes and cut them into like 1-inch medallions, right? You take and then you sear them. I've got a cast iron skillet, which I freaking love.
I love cast iron too.
Rebecca bought it for me, I think, over Christmas, maybe a little before Christmas. But you sear the potatoes. They're just russets. Cut them in coins. You sear them on both ends. Then you add a little bit of butter, rosemary, and then you stick them in the oven in that cast iron skillet for about 20 minutes at 350. Okay. So good. So
and
very
this
good.
Wonderful meal all started from where?
Choncos.
Choncos.
Choncos, yeah.
Choncos.
So if you guys are really, looking for great meat products, and even if you just, you need to buy something quick like vegetables or anything like that, check them out over on Madison Avenue. You can't miss the sign, Big Red Building.
A cool mural.
Cool mural. Yep. Cool mural. So yeah, check them out. You'll be hearing more about them throughout the show. Nate, again, appreciate you guys sponsoring the show this evening.
And I believe he plays music, right? Do we know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, we have some viewers tonight at our window. Scott and Michelle, I believe they have played with him. Does anybody else know that? There's even a name of a band. We'll come back to that.
All right. So the name of the night show is You Heard It Here. There you go. You definitely heard that here also. Speaking of which, we do have, again, Keith Burton from GCS Credit Union here this evening. A lot of news going on there, a lot of rebranding and things like that. And, Keith has joined us this evening just to kind of tell us a little bit about what's going on, give us some information that maybe we don't know. And, we're going to learn a little bit about Keith also. So, Keith, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you in the studio.
Well, thank you very much.
Hot topic these days.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is
So let's just get right into it and tell us who Keith Burton is.
Who is Keith Burton? First of all, though, I want to let you know you're making me really hungry. So I don't know how we're going to sit here, but I'm not sure I can make it without my stomach growling anymore. So, but Chunkos is great. So they have the best hot dogs, best brats, best pork kebabs. Everything's great with them. But
it's good
anyway,
stuff.
So Keith Burton, who is Keith Burton? Keith Burton's been I'm president of GCS Credit Union. I have been in the area for darn near my entire life. So my mom and dad moved here from Kentucky when I was 2 years old, moved into Madison, moved to Mitchell when I was 4. And from there, I went to Mitchell grade school, went to Grigsby Junior High, went to Granite City North, played, 3 sports there, baseball, basketball, football.
Nice.
Went to school, went to Lewis and Clark, played a little bit of baseball there for a couple of years. And then ended my education at SIU Edwardsville. And actually worked here in Granite at a company called Jennison Wright. It was a railroad tie plant. That's how I paid for my school, and worked my way through there. Taught me the value of hard work, working with railroad ties and creosote and all that type of stuff. And,
so I'm hearing self-made man here.
I don't know about that, but yeah, but yeah, my mom and dad set high standards. So that was, we worked for it. So, and then, after college, I went to work for a company called Household Finance, for those that remember that. Worked there for a year. And at that time, after a year, I was on my way to getting my own home office, but I talked to my manager at the time, and he had been in 5 different cities in 5 different years. And collection manager job came up at Granite City Steel Community Federal Credit Union at that time. And I applied for it and got it. So
nice.
Started off as collection manager there back December 15th, 1986. And I've been at the credit union ever since. The last 10 years, since actually just had my 10th year anniversary on the 31st. Been president CEO since for the last 10 years.
Nice. So you've got some pretty strong ties here in the Granite City community, which, I think is pretty awesome. Especially you may not have been born and bred in Granite City, but it definitely sounds like you were bred in Granite City.
I've been bred here. Yeah. Absolutely. So, absolutely. Yeah. You can't, it's about relationships. I definitely have built a lot of relationships in this area through no matter what I've gone through. I mean, we back in the day when we had 2 high schools, that was fantastic then. You got to know a lot of different people, got to be around people. And as time grew on, our communities changed. But one of the sayings that we have that you may hear sometimes, you can take the person out of Granite, but you can't take the Granite out of the person.
Right.
And to me, what does that mean? That might mean something different to different people.
Sure.
But to me, it exemplifies the hardworking values that we have here. Mm-hmm. No matter where you're at, the community that we grew up in set a good example for us as we move forward with our lives.
Yeah. So I grew up, I would say I spent my formative years here in Granite, moved away more than once or twice, and here I am again. Mm-hmm. I moved here first when I was 10 years old. And then, again, you move out, you move back, you move out, you move back. I have family here, and that's why I'm here, because Granite City is where my family is at. So it's, I can definitely understand the appeal of Granite. Now, obviously when I was younger, I had different opinions of what I do of the city now, because, when you're a young teenage kid, you hate everything and everyone, right?
Right.
But then as you get older, you learn to appreciate the values of what people are trying to teach you within a community. And it truly does take a village. So I think that it's awesome, that you've invested your time and your family and everything, not just here in the city itself, but within the financial backbone of the city also, about, where people, do their banking and things like that. Because I think you mentioned earlier, there are really only two original financial institutions, that are still around in Granite, that originated in Granite, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Us and Guardian Savings Bank. So
yeah. So, both, staples in the community, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about, being a staple in a community and, traditionally being here, GCS has gone through, a couple different changes in its history in that. And, now we're looking at a new one, which I believe you guys put a press release through the Alton Telegraph back and probably other, avenues of information. And I appreciate you coming on the show tonight, because you see on, different Facebook groups, the 6240 page, our group, and there's other people talking about it that, don't really understand kind of what's going on, so I was hoping that maybe you just take a moment or two to kind of fill us in a little bit about what's really going on with the name change, what things do we have to look forward to, and maybe just, some reasoning behind it.
Right. So how much time do we have?
Well, the nice thing is it's our show, so we have as much time as we want.
As we like, so okay, good deal.
Could we start at maybe the beginning of the name, the Granite City Steel?
Okay.
You can't be in Granite City, know about Granite City without thinking Granite City Steel Mill.
Yeah.
Our high school, our mascot was the Stiller man.
Yeah.
They just go hand in hand. And I think this is probably one of the reasons why this is tough for a few of us. I want to be completely upfront and say that when I first heard of the name change, I was not a fan. I wanted to resist. I felt like it might have been maybe a little slap in the face. All the things that your knee-jerk reaction is, I had. But the more I thought about it and the more conversations I had, this is a smart move. And it's not only a smart move for your financial institution, it's a smart move for our city. So maybe you could take us back to the very first name change and how it is connected to the steel mill, which has also changed names many times.
Yeah. So, if we go back, first of all, thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. I going through this process, we realize how lucky we are to have passionate people in our town that are passionate about our history and about who we are and all that. And we get that. And we get the fact that change is difficult. There's change in everybody's lives, or whether it's in a financial institution or different things that are going on, ownership of the mill, those types of things that go on. So change is difficult, and we do understand that. We do value our members, and we definitely want them to know that we're here for the long run. We're not looking at this as a way to get out. That's for sure. But we are here for the long run. So if you take a step back, go back to 1941 when we started. It was strictly Granite City Steel employees that originated the credit union. At that time, probably 100% of our membership were all employees of the mill. And for a long time, you pretty much went to HR when you got hired on, and they signed your they gave you a card to join the credit union, and that came in. Over time, that changed as different ownerships came in. I can speak on my behalf, going back to 1986, and when I came in, we were Granite City Steel Federal Credit Union. Shortly after that, we changed to Granite City Steel and Community Federal Credit Union. And talking about change at that time, I don't know if anybody remembers Community Federal Savings and Loan that was up in Alton at that time. It had just gone bankrupt at that time. It had just gone defunct. And a lot of people thought when we changed our name from Granite City Steel Federal Credit Union, Granite City Steel, and Community Federal Credit Union, they took the community and the federal together, and they thought that we were joining forces with Community Federal, who wasn't in very good shape.
Right.
So there was a little bit of time there where there was some discomfort with that a little bit.
And you've weathered on through.
We weathered on through it. Yeah, it's one thing we have always been resilient to go through things. We went from that, then and believe me, it was always hard to answer the phone. Granite City Steel and Community Federal Credit Union, that kind of thing. It was hard to get all that out in an introduction. So over time, we grew in our community base. We weren't always where we're at today. I think the first township we went to was Granite City Township. So you had to live or work within Granite City Township. Then we added Choteau Township. Eventually it was the whole 62040 zip code, which is remarkably big, actually. So, when you really look at it, and then we went to Madison County. And then eventually we had, as a federal credit union, we had parts of St. Clair County, not all of St. Clair County, but, when you advertised, it was all of Madison County and then pieces of St. Clair County, which was difficult because theoretically you could live on one side of the street and be a member and the other side of the street and not be a member.
Sure.
Which was difficult. So around 2012 was when we changed from a federal charter to a state charter. At that time, there was a lot of angst with that move as well, because, historically, people like to see the word federal, for federal insurance and all that type of stuff. And we went to a state charter credit union, which was just like actually at that time, we were like one of the only federal credit unions. There was a few federal credit unions, but there were more state charter credit unions at that time. We went to a state charter. And we not only had Madison and St. Clair County, but we got the 8 other contiguous counties that were around that. And a lot of that's just because it's when you look at community, you look at common bond, those counties all kind of blend together. We all watch the same TV stations. We all, share the same employers, all those types of things. We all have,
some
commonality there. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. We have the commonality there, even though individually and collectively we all have competition against each other too, right? When you look at that. So, but as a whole, you have that, and then eventually we petitioned the state because we felt we do have a uniqueness to us, especially we are the only unionized financial institution on this side of the river. I think there's one other in St. Louis, and
that was news to me tonight. I did not know that.
Yeah. Actually, the employees of the credit union, tellers MSRs, belong to Local 1899 here in town. So we felt that we could do more. So our field of membership actually involves 18 counties, which goes all the way up to Springfield and Sangamon County, Lincoln, Decatur, all the way down to Springfield and Marion, Carbondale and Marion.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Now you've said 2 things that I'd kind of like to touch on just real quick. That kind of denote a little bit of difference between banks and credit unions. You mentioned membership, okay, which I believe there's a bit of a difference between like a bank. You're more of a customer as opposed to a member, and then you also mentioned between state and federal. Being part of the state and part of federal. If for some of those, including myself, who may not fully understand some of the key differences between a bank and a credit union, like how would you classify that, and what would you say just really kind of makes those differences stand out? Yeah,
I think one of the main differences for credit unions is that we are non-for-profit. Now, does that mean that we don't want to make money? Yeah, we have to make money in order to provide products and services for our members, pay our employees, and do bigger and better things. So that's the first thing is we are not for profit. Second, our board members are volunteers. They do this. They meet monthly for board meetings. They represent the credit union just all because that's what they want to do. It's in their heart to do so. Our board members have always been very passionate about the credit union, and most of them have retired from the mill in some way. We do have some other community involvement now as time has gone on, and but the board itself, we couldn't ask for a more driven board and a more giving, caring board for our community. So
Okay, yeah, I just think it's important for people to understand. I think that the fact that you have a volunteer, let me take these off again.
No, that's right.
The fact that you have a volunteer board speaks volumes because, with a lot of banks, it's a matter of profit after profit after profit, and other people who are, sometimes not even the same state or, city, state, or whatever that you're living in are investing money in. Whereas here with a local credit union, it seems like, because you have community members who are investing back into the community, and it sounds like they are rewarded themselves for doing their banking with you, as opposed to paying someone in California who's invested in a big name bank or something like that. So thank you for answering that.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, and if I could just add something, not here to talk about banks versus credit unions.
Right, absolutely.
But I will tell you, community banks are very important to to our area as well. And,
sure.
We just we have a defined field of membership. We not for profit, all those types of things. Community banks and credit unions both share their spirit for the communities. I will say that. One of the things I like to say about credit unions, when you look at things on the outside, and this is just one of my analogies. I'm known for my analogies. So, one of the things I always say is it's kind of like, when you buy a tomato in the wintertime at the store versus getting it out of your garden in the summertime, it looks exactly the same, right? So, but there's something about that one in the summer, it tastes better. So, it's about what's on the inside of that. And so while the buildings look the same, all that type of stuff, no matter where you're at, your institution should be different on the inside. And I do believe that we are different than most places. So.
And we feel that as a community. I think that's probably the number one reason why there's some resistance to the name change. We love this. We love the credit union. You have always been such a good friend to this community. We always see you in our parades and our community needs. You're there, and I don't want that to change.
No.
So it was very important for us to have this show and to give you a chance to really explain in your own words why you are doing this and how is it going to benefit. I don't think a lot of people realize that this name change is a benefit to all of us.
Absolutely.
It's not just a matter of getting away from the Granite City name, because it's never really been about Granite City, about the name. It was not really a part of the steel mill. I didn't know that until you said that today. I guess in my mind, I always thought it was a branch of the steel mill.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hold on to something that's not even there to begin with.
Right.
Nostalgia, whatever it is. We had a little talk right before the show. For my childhood and growing up, it was my first experience with any kind of financial institution. My first savings account that I still have to this day started on Lee Street. So even within the credit union itself, I still even have a preference over which building I prefer to go to. Now, I know Lee Street's probably not going to be there the rest of forever. Things change, but every time there is change and I see you opening a new one, I'm so excited about the growth, but I'm always like, please don't close Lee. I don't even really go to Lee Street. I go to Maryville, but that's my childhood down there. That's where my Christmas club was at. Dang it.
I will tell you, Lee Avenue is our second busiest branch.
Is it really?
Absolutely. It is.
Okay. Because we love the credit union.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
you mentioned, and I love to make these little segues here, especially when you pick up on keywords, but you mentioned, you said a couple of things, nostalgia, you said experience, things like that. And, when you do that, again, it brings me to our sponsor tonight, that I kind of think of a little bit. And, when we mentioned earlier, Chonko's is, just kind of a staple tradition, here in town or whatever. And when I was younger, the experiences that I had down there, you go down there with my dad, we get like the little Smokies, right? Just something to kind of, snack on, while, dad's doing his shopping, whatever, getting his pork steaks that he's going to, cook that evening, which pork steaks, you guys know that's a Midwest thing.
That's a Midwest thing.
Yeah. When I was out in Seattle, totally blew my mind that they had no idea what a pork steak was. So, I had to school some people out there, but the experiences that I had there, it was really great. And just to see that still here, it is pretty awesome. And, Kim, I'm sure that, when you were younger, you had experiences out at Chunko's, as well. What would you say was your favorite one?
And I had something to compare it to. I'm originally from Madison, very proud of that. I've been in Granite City for well over 40 years. But Madison was kind of known for its meat markets. They were open to the public, sawdust on the floor, the cows hanging from the ceiling. Madison had the meat markets. But when we moved into Granite City, my mom married a Granite City policeman, and we had to move to Granite. That was hard. Change is hard. It was hard even back then. But what I did love about Chunko's was the old fashioned of it.
Yeah.
And it's still there today. When you walk in there, the flooring is reminiscent of what it was for me 40 years ago.
Yeah.
The candy right at the register.
Oh yeah.
Watching my grandma and my mom order their meat order. That was, and being packaged in the white paper and handed over, and watching the meat be cut. There's something to that. The butchers are no joke.
Yeah.
And I have to say Chunko's is the go-to.
They really are. And if you guys are looking for great meat packages, they do offer meat packages. Check them out on their Facebook page. We've got it scrolling down here at the bottom, or give them a call at 618-451-5200, and they can talk to you about their packages and everything. Really great product. Matter of fact, their slogan is quality first meats, which is really great. But check them out, especially during grilling season. Go down there, talk to Nate, or I believe Mike is one of the other butchers down there. No, I think it's Tim actually. But those guys
Bob just retired.
Okay.
After I don't know how many years, but I just saw that on Facebook recently.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah, go down there and check them out. Again, let them know also that I'm sure you heard about them before in the metro, or whatever. But, just let them know that you heard about them on our show. We'd appreciate it. 618-451-5200. And then just go visit them on Madison Avenue. You can't miss it. So we're talking a little bit about traditions, change, things like that. Change is obviously inevitable.
It is. And it's normally for the good. And I think we have all the right reasons. And now would be probably a perfect time for Keith to tell us the new name.
The new name. New name is Revity Credit Union. The Revity, what that stands for, it's a revitalization. So if you break the word down into two pieces, the first, the REV stands for revitalization, not unlike what we're doing here in our own town.
Right here in the district.
Right here in the district. Yeah, we're trying to revitalize. And so the revitalization with those things that I think people would like to see in their financial institution. So it's revitalization with integrity, some revitalization with accountability, revitalization with community, revitalization with creativity, revitalization with all those types of words. And so you take the REV from the revitalization and the ITY, and that's how you come up with Revity. And I think if people really understand the meaning behind that, and what it is. Now, if you just look at the word Revity, yeah, it's a made up word, right? So, but it's a combined word with meaning. And there was, the process to go through this was a very passionate, very difficult one. We have talked about name changes over the years, and like we talked earlier, we did change our name a few times. And this time it was more about the connectivity to our 18 county field of membership and how we can grow and how not growth to forget about where we're from, because I will tell you, we are all very proud of where we're from. Sure. We're very proud of our history. We actually look at our history and as our foundation for this growth. So everybody who's a member of the credit union should realize that and be proud of what we are and what we're doing. But as time goes on, in order for us to continue to better serve our members now and in the future, it has to be about revitalization. It has to be about connecting to the future, and that's what this process is about. So when we took this stance and we started talking about it about a year ago, we did have a company come in and help guide us through a session to come up with, to talk about those things that are important to us, the values, all that type of stuff. And then really we had focus groups with our employee group as well. And then we had 3 member focus groups also to go through the different processes that we were thinking about. And I will tell you, the name Revity is the name that rose above them all. Everybody to a person pretty much said, that's, yeah, maybe I didn't really see it at first, but it grew on me. It grew. And by the time the end of the hour and a half session, that's the name that came out. So when the time came, that is the name that we all chose, the board included. And, it's something that we're proud of. We're proud of the process that we went through with that. So
it does have a connotation of movement. When you say the word, and I think your financial institution, you want growth, you want movement, you want positive direction, things along those lines. And I believe that the way you described it, with the revitalization and then all the ITY words at the end of, creativity and just community, I think it really, to me, it just kind of solidifies more of what you guys are focused on and what your vision is for the region. And even as you grow more, it's more what your focus is on the memberships, because ultimately your members are the ones that are going to benefit from the growth of their credit union.
Yeah. And if, we know change is inevitable, and we also know in order to grow, you must change. And, we want to be around for, we've been around since 1941. So we want to be around 80 plus more years.
Sure.
And in order to do that, we know we have to adapt. We've been very resilient over the years. We talked earlier about the change from federal to state, and there were a lot of people that were upset about that. But what has happened because of that change has propelled our success that we are today. We're a very financially strong credit union. We keep our capital levels up between 11.5% and 12%, which is very good. And we've received the highest ratings that we can from our federal regulators since around 2001. So we are very strong, and that is a lot to do with our employees and how they do it, but it's also a very special tribute to our members as well, because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for them.
I love the fact that you didn't just completely move away from our roots, our heritage. Can you speak on the colors and maybe what is in that lettering that might get overlooked if you're not told about it? It made a big difference for me.
Yeah, the if you look at our logo, the color selections, we have that deep green that's in there, but then the other 2 accenting colors are more of a copper, and actually the one color is actually steel. That's what the color is, and that is a tribute to our past. Bringing the metals into that cooperation within the logo. And then when you look at the word Revity, how that's blocked out and how that's spelled out, it is meant to symbolize steel beams, and it's meant to look like a steel type of outline when it looks at that.
It's very nice. Once you hear this and you understand that this was not a slight to Granite City, it really had once you can take that out of your mind and be open to this, it's actually pretty perfect.
Right. Yeah.
Logos are so important also. And when you're talking about colors, design, and the things that are put into it, it really sounds like you guys intentionally, looked at the logo, looked at design and says, what does it represent? I've got a bit of a graphic design background, so I understand that sometimes, a logo may look odd to somebody, or a logo may look, why did they do that? But when you get into why, and you can see the heritage that you guys have included in the logo, especially, with adding the steel colors in that and everything, I think that speaks a lot about your pride in the community and about how, you're not just rooted, but you're continuing to keep your roots in the town by visually showing, your history and your past, with ties here to the city. So I think that,
we can embrace that and be so proud of that. I was talking with the mayor this afternoon, and we had a very lengthy conversation, and he spoke about a while back, you met him for lunch, and you let him know what was coming down. And I think that speaks a lot to the credit union and to you as the CEO and the president, that you took in consideration our leader and how that would trickle down to our residents. And he's very, very pro. He spoke very highly of you. He broke it down for me in ways that yous are doing what we're doing here in the city. We've rebranded downtown. It is now the district. There's going to be some people that is always going to call this downtown. There's going to be some that's going to call it both things, downtown and the district. You're not going to ever get away from it.
Or the downtown district.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get away from it. And I think that's, after talking to him, that's what this is going to be. You're always going to be our credit union. I don't care how many more counties you get into, what name you use, you're our credit union. And we, as this community, we're going to have to embrace this. It's for us. The good is for us too. The better you are, the better you grow, the more growth you have. It opens up so many more things for the residents of Granite City. You came from here. No matter where you go, you're in Granite City. I love that you're a native. You might not have been born here, but you're a native. You choose to still live in our community.
Absolutely.
I see you at all the events. You don't just talk it. You actually are out there walking, and I appreciate that very much. If I could express anything to our listeners and to the community.
Hey, they're viewers, not just listeners. We actually have viewers.
You said we weren't doing that anymore. Dang it. We have to embrace this. We have to be a part of the growth. Instead of resisting, I challenge everyone to look at this outside of yourself. Look at this as an opportunity to help our credit union become the best that it can be, and let it grow, watch it grow, and be a part of it. And it starts here in Granite City, because I can promise you, whatever county you go into next, they're not going to care one way or the other about Granite City. But we care.
Absolutely, we do.
And we're going to love Brevity regardless. So change is hard, but it's only change on the first day.
They call it growing pains.
And it
for
is.
A reason, because you're growing, which is awesome.
So many people were upset, and rightfully so. Their feelings have been valid. I've heard from, I'm pulling my money out, to, just so many things. But once you just sit back and kind of listen and remember what you loved about the credit union is still there.
And my hope is that, while people are thinking all these things, whatever that they're actually watching right now, not just because I want them to watch a show, but because they can actually learn something here.
Right.
They can actually learn that, what you guys are doing isn't changing anything for them. We're not talking about huge policy changes or anything. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know, but we're not talking about a huge change. And my hope is that, they're hearing from you guys exactly, the truth about what's going on. And so, speaking of that, when is the official swap? Or do you guys have a grand opening planned for this? Like, what does the actual rebranding look like for you guys as far as timeline goes?
Okay. If I could just take a step back just for a second.
Please.
So thank you for your comments. We really appreciate that. We want people to embrace this. I don't want people to feel it's something that they have to do, but we want them to. I have a saying, and other people have heard it too, but we want people to be curious. Not judgmental right off the bat.
Right.
So give it some time. You really look at it. That's why we've put the questions on the website so people can read and see those things. That's why we've taken the time to start announcing this at our annual meeting last March, And then we started doing a countdown just a couple weeks ago, announcing there was a name change coming. So just to give you, to answer your question though, our name change will be official July 1st. That's, that'll be. So
love it. It's my birthday.
It's your birthday.
It's the great day. You guys are going to celebrate my birthday. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Well, happy birthday in advance. So,
I want to talk about the core values.
Okay.
I have some papers that Keith has brought to us. One of them you can find on their website, and it's all the basic questions that you have. And I've read through them, and nothing's changed. Just better things are coming. We're not losing anything. Yeah. We're just growing bigger. Yeah. I love this core values. They're built on strength.
Right.
And I love how the word strength is then laid out, and the S is for service.
Absolutely. With service, we are dedicated to our trustworthy members that have built us. So, and we want to serve them.
That's the T, trustworthy.
Trustworthy.
And we have felt that way since the beginning. So nothing should change.
Yeah. No, nothing should change in that matter. Matter of fact, as we all know, trust is something you don't earn overnight. And I think we've worked hard to earn trust. I do know it can go at snap of a finger too. And,
absolutely.
But if people just understand I wore a GCS shirt here tonight, right? So, being there for 37 years, GCS is in my heart. Granite City's in my heart. But I also know in my heart that this is good for us.
I believe it is too.
Yeah.
And if we're going to go with trustworthy, then we have to trust that you're doing the right thing and that we're all going to benefit from it. And then that takes us into resilient and empathetic and neighborly.
I think one of my favorite ones there is the neighborly. Because I believe that's who we are. One of our greatest strengths, our greatest passion are things that we do for our communities. And we've done here. I mean, not only as a credit union, but we have employees that volunteer their time in the community that are coaching sports. I know, when my kids were young and I actually coached teams, I didn't have kids on. I mean, I was coaching 3 basketball teams, a couple softball teams, a baseball team at the same time. I was coaching football. I was coaching soccer. I didn't play soccer in school, but I ended up coaching the Elk Select team back in the day. And, actually got a kick out of that because we actually turned out to be pretty good. So that was always fun. You had a lot of pride in who we are and what we do and teaching those work ethics. But, our employees are in the same way. I'm also the president of the Granite City Scholarship Foundation as well. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
We just gave out 22 $2,000 scholarships at the senior rec night. And over the last few years, we have given out probably on average of about 17 to 20 scholarships for about the last 8 or 9 years. It's a great thing. It is built on the community, the leaders in the community, I will say. So my old football coach at Granite City North, a guy named Larry Curry, who taught here in the district for a long time, he's on that committee with me. Our previous CEO, Mark Holzhauser, is on that committee as well. Randy Irwin and Chip King, and we collect funds from local businesses, local organizations, anybody who wants to donate to that, and it's for a great cause. That one thing, that one night is one of my favorite nights of the year to go to that senior rec night, and really
that is cool. I had no idea that was a thing here. I mean, I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So just those things. And
in the word strength, we've gotten to the G, and it's what's happening, growth minded.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. In order to succeed in business, you have to be growth minded. If you try to stay the same all the time, you're not going to get through. You're not going to adapt to change. The resiliency behind things. I think that word resiliency is right there with us too. So
well, one of the things that I've heard throughout my career is if you're not growing, you're moving backwards. Actually,
right.
And you just can't do that. So no, I think that's a very, very, very important point.
T is transparent, and that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
This didn't come out of the blue, and all you have to do to know that is start looking back through the Facebook. The conversation was there. I think you're being very transparent. And I don't see that changing either. It's always been that way.
Mm-hmm. Transparency is hard. But it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And
it's about timing.
It's about timing.
You know what you're doing, and everybody's wanting to know what you're doing, mm-hmm. but only when the right time is. That takes us right back to trust. Mm-hmm. There has to be trust,
right?
And then honorable.
Yeah.
And I feel like everything in the word strength is what we love about Granite City Still Credit Union.
Yeah.
And that'll be a hard change to go from there. And many people will still call it that for a long time.
And that's fine.
Yeah. But I'm so excited about the new people that is going to know us by our new name, and what they're going to find in a credit union is everything they've been looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're going to find out what the spirit of our town is like. Mm-hmm. And they're going to know what our values are and see that we are good. And
absolutely
that we can grow.
I have a message from the mayor, from the conversation. He wants everyone to know that he's behind this move. 100%. It's a smart move. It's not taking anything from us. It's actually giving us something more. And he's backing it 100%. And I think for the residents to hear that and to know that the leader of our city is behind this move, and we all know that he's got our best interest at heart. It goes back to the word trust in a different field.
Right.
And when it all comes together, I'm 100% behind this. I can't say that I was 3 weeks ago, a month ago, when I was watching Facebook and that fall down. But he turned me around on that. And he's right. You are Granite City. You're the face of that credit union. And I don't think that's going to change. I don't think we're not going to see any change that's negative. You're still going to be the friend to our community.
Right. Absolutely.
And if we just step outside of ourselves for just a minute here and there in the future, when we see the great things that are happening in other communities and counties are reaping the benefits of their new Revity credit union, we're already going to know how good they're going to like it, how well it's going to be received.
They'll experience what we've
already known, what we have expected from you.
Right. Absolutely.
So welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for those comments. I don't know if we I know there's been some common questions online, and I really want to address some of those. And for those that don't know, we have a frequently asked question section on our website that you can go to, and we're going to start sharing that a little bit more here in the coming weeks, and probably even start just a campaign to even answer those questions, just one at a time for people. But the thing I think people should know, this is a name change. This isn't a merger. This isn't an acquisition. This isn't that. This is a name change. So, as far as routing numbers, using your checks, those things remain the same. There's nothing on July 1st when the new name is on the building, and it won't be on every building on July 1st. That'll take a little bit of time.
Sure.
It's not, you can't snap your fingers and do that. But on July 1st, the name's Revity, but your GCS checks. We even have some people who have checks from a couple name changes ago that still come through. It's the same routing number, so it's the same thing. Your debit cards, your credit cards, those all work. Now, one thing I will say is that as far as cards and debit cards and that, as the year goes on, if your card matures this year, you'll get a new Revity card. That's normal process. If you lose your card, you'll get a new Revity card. After January 24, we do need to look back and see who hasn't gotten the new card, because we do have a year to replace those cards. So at some point everybody will need to get a new card. The only other thing I think that is that our mobile app will change, but you will not have to change your password and your sign-on. So you'll have to reload a mobile app, the Revity the mobile app. That'll come in late July. Won't be right off the bat. Everything else will be the same for a bit, but we will notify everybody when that change is coming, when you need to do it, and we'll help people get over to that to help load that back on there. So, but the website will be we'll be GCS for a little bit, probably around the third week of July. There'll be a new website, Revity Credit Union or revitycu.com. But for a while, a long while, the mygcscu.com will be forwarded to that new website. So even if you forget, it'll still get you to where you need to go. So,
nice.
Yeah.
There is a lot of great questions on here. And like you said, things that people are wondering about. I'm going to post this on the 62040. And you can find it on the website. Absolutely. There's some things that I want you to know tonight. One of the questions is, will the new branch in Edwardsville be the headquarters? What is the answer to that?
No, it won't be. And we had a pre-discussion on that, right? So, we are building a new building in Edwardsville, and it's a bigger building than what we have right now. The building we've been in Edwardsville for over 20 years, and that branch actually was designed to be built bigger at the time, but the city had different ideas as far as green space and those types of things, so that footprint did get reduced a little bit, and we did not anticipate all that growth that's there. We're kind of locked in. So if you've ever been into that parking lot, it's hard to get in and out of and all that. And truthfully, we're behind Quick Trip, and I'm amazed at how many people don't know that we're there. And so the opportunity came up to purchase the property that's over on Plum Street. It's in the division with Global Brew and where Sugar Fire used to be. I think
over by
the Bramble there
the
now.
Theater, right?
Yeah, across the street from the theater.
Okay.
So it's right there. And, that gave us a little more space to put a little bigger footprint in, move some people around a little bit too. So we are putting some other offices up there. But as far as the headquarters, I consider, I say we have 8 branches. We have Maryville Road is our busiest branch. Lee Avenue is our second busiest branch. We do intend to grow in other areas, but my office is on Maryville Road. My office will stay on Maryville Road.
And I love that.
Our chief operating officer, senior vice president, who's been with the credit union for 40 years, her office will be there as well. So we'll still have the same great employees working. People, the day July 1st comes in, if you were in the credit union the week before, the same people are going to be waiting on you. And I think that's something that people should be very positive about.
Absolutely.
So,
Awesome.
And I know that we already touched on this, but let's just go ahead and read it and be very clear on it. Did you get bought out by another bank or credit union?
No.
It's nothing like that.
No.
It's just a rebrand, a new name. To connect with the new counties and the other 17 counties that they're in that may not know Granite City. Granite City won't resonate with them. Kind of like maybe how some of us felt the first time the Bank of Edwardsville moved into Granite City. I think there's a little bit of a connection there. It makes sense. It's just a name change. Everything else stays the same. And it says, how will the name change impact the credit union?
Positive.
Absolutely.
Growth. Yeah. We'll be able to, by growing, we'll be able to serve more. We'll be able to allow better products and services. We will expand our products and services. I mean, we're real close to being able to offer commercial deposit accounts and that. So we're getting to that point. We do have some commercial loans that we started working on that a couple of years ago. We're, looking at coming out with new card products. We're looking at hopefully have a cash back product on a credit card here before long.
Oh,
so
nice.
We're looking at what we can do, looking at how we can connect with people and just a little bit better and broaden our foundation for future success.
Very cool. Keith, I can't really tell you how much we appreciate you taking the time out of your evening, stepping away from your family for a little while and
just having this conversation with us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. I always like talking about our credit union, and I like talking about our community. Equal.
Isn't it awesome when you love your job?
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
That in and of itself is just such a rewarding thing, and so awesome.
So if you come away from anything about the new change, about the new name, for me it means growth. And the more growth means more members, and more members mean more money into the credit union. More money into the credit union equals out lower interest rates and more loans for us and more jobs for us. And we are the benefactors of that. It started here. It's not going anywhere. It's just got a new name.
Yeah. Couldn't say better. Thank you
Awesome.
very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate you coming in tonight.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. So
yeah, appreciate it.
Okay.
So, this is good news.
Yeah, a total turnaround kind of news.
So
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You know what I'm excited about? I'm really excited about?
It's got to do with chicken, kebabs, beef.
You're right.
I am.
I'm pretty excited, that summer. Now, summer is not necessarily, it's not my favorite season because it's too hot. And let's be honest, you can only take off so many clothes before they'll put you in jail. But the nice thing is you can also, it's a good time to grill. And my grill is actually in the shade, so, but yeah, with grilling season here, and again, the steaks that I got, and Keith, like you'd mentioned earlier with the bratwurst and things like that. And I have to say also that Rebecca has got me off of like the regular pork and chicken hot dogs and just how bad they are for you.
All beef.
I got some great all beef quarter-pound hot dogs at Chonko's.
Those
so
are the
good.
Best.
Oh,
yeah.
So good.
You know what? A good way to fix those too is put them in the air fryer. Put them in the air fryer.
I love the air fryer.
For, about 4 minutes at about 400 degrees, you get that nice little crisp to it.
Oh yeah,
and get that little snap when you bite into it.
Yeah, I love the air fryer. I actually. So do you guys watch TikTok videos at all, like the cooking videos or anything?
Yeah.
So every once in a while, I'll see them. They'll like do weird stuff with common meats, like hot dogs, bologna, things like that. So what I did was I didn't know anything about binders beforehand, like as far as grilling and that goes. So I just basically took, some of the hot dogs I got from Chonko's, sliced them. So when you put them on the grill, they cook through, put a little bit of Dijon mustard on it with some 5-0 seasoning that I got from Chonko's also, because they've got a great selection of seasonings over there. Poured some of them on there with that mustard binder, threw them on the grill. Oh my gosh. It was, I'm talking slap your daddy good. It was delicious. It was really good.
And the prices are reasonable. It doesn't break. You don't have to empty out your Revity account for a meat order.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
I see what you did there. Nice. But it was really good. And I was really surprised to find that not only is it meat, they have like different salads, ham salad, chicken salad, which is really good. But also I was able to get, some fresh vegetables there. I got some onions there. I got some mushrooms there. And, I was just kind of walking around. I was really surprised at how much of a traditional, genuine corner store it is, because they had everything there. If you're looking for charcoal, they've got charcoal there. If you're looking for seasonings, they have seasoning. If you're looking for paper plates, they've got paper plates. They've got to-go boxes for, your guests or whatever. They've got soda. They've got beer and wine and everything else. I was like, holy crap, this is actually
the corner market.
It is.
With a meat counter.
Yeah, and it's within walking distance to a lot of neighborhoods.
It is.
So it is really nice. And again, I want to thank you guys over there at Chonko's for supporting us. Local business supporting a local show, I think is pretty great. Check them out over on Madison Avenue. Check them out on Facebook as well. We've got their information down here at the bottom. 618-451-5200. Call up there, order your meat packages to go. And that's really where you're going to find some savings at. And they're always posting on Facebook, like what they've got on meat packages and things like that. Engineer Bill, you shop at Chonko's often, or?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Good
Best
stuff.
Meat market, hands down.
Yes, it is pretty good stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, awesome.
And we will get the information about what I think it's Frankie and the House Shakers that he plays with.
I think you're right.
Frankie and the House Shakers?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started on that band, because I love Frank. I just love Frank.
All right.
Yeah.
Are
Probably
they playing at the concerts in the park?
Yes.
Okay.
And they are always the biggest crowd we have. Sorry, Scott and Michelle. They are the biggest crowd that we always get. And I love him. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's where Nathan plays. I could be wrong, but either way.
What's your favorite seasoning, by the way?
My favorite seasoning? So I do like the 5-0 rub that they have.
Yeah.
They have another one there that I think it's the Fireman's. There's a Fireman's one. And then there is the garlic one, which is the military one. So it's really good. And they literally have, I want to say, like 5 shelves of an entire section of different seasonings. So it's really good. It really is kind of a one-stop shop. Absolutely. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I was surprised by this when I went there Saturday. They're actually open 7 days a week. So I didn't realize that. So even if you're needing something on a Sunday, you can stroll in, get what you want, and head home and cook what you need to cook. So it's good stuff.
Before we sign off and say goodnight, I want to talk about something real quick. Part of the weekend in Civic Park during the melting pot, we had meet and greet with the artists. I hope most of you have seen the new art pieces that are around Civic Park and in Arnpour Park.
Oh, I was at the Wishbone.
Yes, I do.
You saw the picture.
I wish I would have known you was there. Some great pieces. I love art. I love all kinds of art. I know it's some do, some don't. But to hear an artist explain what their art meant to them and how it came about. And there was one that struck me the most. All of them are great pieces, but what I will call the wreath that has its own actual name, it faces the cinema.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's huge. I had looked at that piece probably 15 times while we were cleaning up the park and getting ready for different things. And it wasn't until it was explained to me that those pieces of steel that are just kind of blobs is actually the elbow casting of people with Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
And all of the roping throughout it that holds it together is the neurons. So it really was a neat piece. And to hear how that came about, and it took her over a year, and she cast off real people with real problems. It's really a neat piece that can speak to all of us, because now I think everyone knows someone that has been affected by Alzheimer's.
Very
Then
cool.
the piece over in Arnpour Park, we call it Ascend. It's the big shuttle looking thing. That was kind of neat to find out that had actually been in a couple movies. It's interactive. The artist wants you to climb the stairs.
Yeah, did a couple pictures in there also.
Yes, absolutely. There's not a bad piece in that collection. And I was so grateful that I got to be a part of knowing when it was being installed and listening to the artist when they were talking about it Saturday. That was probably the best part of Saturday.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Keith, you got a compliment on here. Someone, we can't see who it is, unfortunately, because Facebook likes to act stupid sometimes. They'll show it, it won't.
It'll show it after the show.
Yeah, just thank you very much. A listener and a viewer wanted to say thank you. It's very interesting information that you did. So, again, from us, and some of our viewers, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, no, you're quite welcome. Like I said earlier, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to represent our town's credit union, the whole bit. And I would like to take a second just to thank our members for being loyal to us. And,
absolutely.
I would also like to thank our employees for being who they are and their efforts every day. And, we couldn't be who we are without either group. So like I say, it's an honor to represent a group like that. So absolutely.
Awesome. So before we leave tonight, I do have to give shout outs to two people two businesses locally that have affected me personally. So one is the final, I think it's called the Final Touch over on Ponton Road. I have been looking for years for a local barber, and this guy, I'm not sure how long he's been in there, but I went in there, told him what I wanted. He hooked me up, and it was very reasonable. Straight razors. So guys, if you're looking for a straight razor shave, and he's not sponsoring the show, but I need to give this guy a shout out, because local guy, lives here in Greenwich, got his tile up, or has got his shingle up. And you can't tell it now because it was like a week ago, but man, when I left there, I felt awesome.
You felt revitalized.
What's that?
Revitalized.
Yeah.
There you go.
I did. I felt revitalized. And, also, clean cuts. I spoke with Devin a couple times, and he's actually been out twice now to cut my yard. Local guy. He's actually going to be on a show next week, I believe.
Great.
He's going to come on and just talk a little bit. about starting your own business as a sole proprietor here in Granite. And I mean, the guy did a fantastic job on my yard. Very reasonable. Did a great job on my yard.
And did it the right way.
He did it the right way. He's got one or two other guys that come out with him. They're in, they're out. They've got, different ways that you can pay him, whatever.
Went to City Hall, filed his paperwork. He has a license.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done everything the right way.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, So if you see, they got their own shirts that says Clean Cuts on them. Check them out also on Facebook. But yeah, I have to give those guys, a shout out, both the guy over at Final Touch, and his name is Chuck, the guy at Final Touch.
Of course you like him.
So of course,
yeah,
and then for Devin and Clean Cuts, I just think that they did a great job. Sounds like you want to give a shout out as well.
Well, we always give a shout out to our host, Brenda Whitaker.
Oh, absolutely.
And Studio B. Where are we located, Chuck?
Right behind Garden Gate Tea Room. And we're
nestled
right in front,
nestled
in between Garden Gate Tea Room and Studio C, a private cinema that you can reach here, that you can rent here as well. So,
and that is an experience. It's not a destination. It is an experience.
It is an experience.
You're looking for a unique place to have a birthday party, a favorite movie, a girls' night out, a graduation party. There's the place.
Yeah, or if you want to just watch a classic movie back there and just have your own private cinema is basically what it is. So yeah, reach out to Brenda Whitaker if you guys are looking to to rent something like that. And also keep in mind, if you want to become part of the GCRX Podcast Network, reach out to myself, reach out to Kim, reach out to Brenda. I know we've got Scott and Michelle. They're going to be starting their show up here before too long.
I believe next week.
Is it next week?
What I understand, next week they're going to give us a little bit of a viewing of what's going to take place.
Awesome. And Music City, Granite City, right?
Right. And Scott and Michelle are our first Music at concert series.
Awesome.
Civic Park next Wednesday, 6:30.
I believe so. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for joining us again tonight. We appreciate every time you guys come out here. Again, our sponsors are part of what makes our show possible. It helps us pay the bills that it costs to run the show. There are other costs and everything. So if you want to be a sponsor on one of our shows, reach out and we're happy to get you taken care of and get you set up for that. We can answer pretty much any questions that you have. Again, thank you to Tonight's Show, Chonkos, for making Tonight's Show possible. Thank you very much. And, we're going to be back next week, same time, same spot, right here at Studio B, 7:15 on Monday night. You guys have a great week, and thanks a lot.